There's never been a time. There's never been a time. There's never been a time as fucked up as this. As fucked up as this.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad.
What's wrong with the world is the elimination of the human image and human story from architecture.
The starting point has to be blindingly obvious fact, to the extent that 20th century modernism was a purely Western cultural phenomenon.
One of the most important human characteristics is the ability to learn from stories. The human story for 30,000 years was told on the facade of buildings. That storytelling has come to a nearly complete end. One writer has called it modern murder, the genocide of the human image and the human story from architecture. Some civilizations are known mostly by their buildings, some only by their buildings. When the buildings that we're making now are dug up 1,000 years from now, there will be no story. There will be nothing to learn. There will be no human legacy.
Where is everybody?
These are the members of the Bauhaus, possibly the greatest collection of artists and architects ever assembled. Here's their workshop building. At one end, artists were exploring the human form with color and freedom. At the other, architects were designing the most inhuman buildings imaginable. But what if the architects of the Bauhaus could have allowed themselves to be influenced by their own artists, by Laszlo Moholy-Nagy and his paintings? What could have happened then? Moreover, imagine the possibilities if the Bauhaus architects had allowed themselves to be influenced by possibly the greatest painter of the early 20th century, Wassily Kandinsky, who was in their stable of artists. And it wasn't just painters and sculptors that could have changed architecture forever. Here's Günther Stultz, textile weaver, one of her rugs featuring the human form. Oskar Schlemmer could have had a huge impact as well. He was the director of the Bauhaus Ballet and was relentless in his pursuit of investigating the human form. But in the end, it's possible that Herbert Bayer could have had the greatest impact with his collages of photography, buildings, and life drawings.
All-night disco party. It's an all-night disco party. All-night disco party. A super non-stop Uber rocking disco party.
It is important to rethink the modern. Important, that is, to move beyond the historical period defined by the postmodern. The starting point has to be globalization, understood in its economic, political and cultural aspects.
The worst side effect of modernist architecture is architectural neutrality, the oppression of people by the buildings that serve them.
Today's artists, whatever latitudes they live in, have the task of envisaging what would be the first truly worldwide culture. But there is a paradox bound up with this historic mission, which will have to be undertaken not in the wake of, but in resistance against that political pressure to conform known as globalization. In order for this emergent culture, born of differences and singularities, to come into being, instead of conforming to the ongoing standardization, it will be necessary to develop for it a specific imagination, relying on logic unlike that which presides over capitalist globalization.
We're just gonna change the world. What the hell happened? Okay, I got it. We're gonna come together for this one. I need your help. We're gonna fill this room up with love and inspiration, and it won't last past the time you leave here tonight, but everybody on this side, let's all unfuck it up. Okay, real loud and proud, let's all unfuck it up. Now you gotta keep going without me when I leave you. Here we go. Let's all unfuck it up. Doesn't that feel good?